Go! What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. Go! It's K.L.P Aftermath. Morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boy howdy. Boy howdy. Ladies and germs, welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the KLP Aftermath podcast presented by and powered by our Heart Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so very much for tuning in. It is a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday, January 6th, early in the morning. Of course, we're switching our schedules around, ladies and gentlemen, for y'all. There's one thing that I'm trying to do when it comes down to podcasting and give you guys multiple episodes when it comes down to it. So I hope that you guys are ready for this one. It's early in the morning. Got my arms out. You know, the swollenness is real. I got a funny story to tell you guys about the gym that happened to me yesterday. But we'll get to it, I promise. We'll get to everything we need to get to for sure. This episode is very, very special. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't seen yesterday's podcast from What Had Happened was me and Evelyn back into the studio, over an hour long podcast. Let me tell y'all, we are so dedicated when it comes down to this podcasting thing, Hope. We're just super. I'm really appreciative and very thankful for Evelyn and Letitia. First and foremost, she knows my love for her is quite amazing when it comes down to our podcast show. Our Instagram officially 1,400. That's a lot of followers. It's a lot of followers, ladies and gentlemen. Get on that train. What had happened was, as WHHW Radio 1, if you guys want to know, because on that on that Instagram and Facebook, again, Facebook is What Happened Was podcast, along with all our other shows, every show of ours, not only we premiere it on any audio platform you get your podcast from. We're talking iHeartMedia, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, but we're starting this new thing where we're streaming our shows on our Instagram pages that is associated. I put all our shows on my personal TikTok and my LinkedIn as well, because a lot of people love it on that channel as well. Just getting our shows out there, because our shows, let me tell you, it's not just getting the lights on and the cameras and getting the mic and stuff programmed done. It's a lot of work that goes into these shows, and I'm not complaining about the workload, because I really enjoy the amount of work that goes into putting together a great show for our audience, for my fans, for my fan base, for our people that's been listening. And you guys been listening throughout years. So now I had to do the air horn again, Hope, because now we're in January and I'm switching my schedule around because I want to do more, right? That is my goal for 2026. And you guys know in the last episode, I brought to you guys, I told you guys about my my New Year's goal, but this is one of them to give you guys more. So I hope that you guys like it. I hope that you guys like the train, the ride that we're on, because it's quite amazing. Before we get to all the stories and whatnot, I got to get to it. To Hope, I promise. So if you guys know, my new gospel album, it is available right now. Holy Grounds is available right now on any audio platform you get your music from. Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your music from. YouTube Music, Tidal. That's Jay-Z's thing right there, Tidal. Holy Grounds is available. A lot of people have been listening to it. A lot of people like it. And also my newest movie, Dear Isaiah documentary, is available early access on Relay. Now let's get to it. Let's get to the nitty gritty for today's show, because we've got kind of a long day. Got to go into a couple of offices, and then I got the gym later on today. But let me tell you what happened in the gym yesterday. And I peeped this. And when I get ready for this story that happened to me yesterday at the gym, I peeped something. And I'm picking on the ladies again. I love my ladies, Hope, because Hope's the lady. She's my producer. But this is just something that happened to me that is just really bizarre to me. And comment below. I might just be in the wrong in this. I might be overthinking it. I just don't know. So yesterday, Monday, I'm back in the gym. For some crazy reason, after my long work day, I went to the gym and I had so much energy. I was pumped. I was lifting weights. I was lifting more than I was lifting heavy yesterday. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just something about me going to the gym after a long work day. Those be my best workout sessions. I don't know what it is, ladies and gentlemen, but it's just something because everybody knows I get up early in the morning for a long, work day. And after work around 5 p.m. ish, I go in and I do my thing. I go to the gym. And usually, for some reason, I think this is real because I've seen a lot of TikTok creators talk about this. And I honestly do think that this thing is real. That when you had a long, tiresome day, and yesterday wasn't really that long of a day, really. It was just the beginning. But when you have a tiresome day, ladies and gentlemen, you go into the gym and for some crazy reason, you've got all the energy and that be your best lifts, your best workouts, your best sessions. So I think I'm embracing this evening workout a lot more. There's a lot of people that go into the gym. So that's just something I've got to deal with working during the day and then going to the gym in the evenings. But I got my Celsius, got my thing in, got pumped up. Yeah, I see it. I got my pumped up. I was getting ready for it. I was getting it in. So towards the end of my workout, and ladies, comment below. Again, I'm picking on y'all, but I'm not picking on y'all. I just gotta know. I'm going on there and the evening is busy, right? It's busy in the evening. A lot of ladies was on the treadmill and I said, okay, I get on the treadmill as a warm up and then I go for my weights and then my machines. And then my last refresher is the treadmill. I run for about 5 minutes on the treadmill to just kind of end my workout, kind of cool my body down a little bit. I'm walking up to the treadmill, line of ladies on the treadmills. Like, it was packed. And then they had 2 machines out of order. I do say to Crunch, Snellville, because I love y'all, it's a bad time to have machines out of order because it's January. People are going back into the gym, going back into their gym routine after the long holiday. It's a bad time to have some machines down. That's just, and it's not their fault. Things break, right? Obviously, machines break. They got to pay to get that stuff fixed, and that doesn't come cheap. I get it. But it's a bad time to have that happen because once a machine is down and broken, ladies and gentlemen, you can't, it gets, and it's already crowded in there, and you can't use a certain type of machine. I get annoyed just a little bit. Now that Crunch Snellville, it's just annoying when the machine goes down. So they had 2 of the treadmills down due to maintenance. I get it. Things break. I work in IT and tech myself. Things break. But there was 2 ladies. They were sandwiched. One lady was on the treadmill, another lady was on the treadmill, and then there's just one treadmill on the slab dab in the middle of those 2. The only one that was left. And I was like, I don't want to skip out on my exit. My final thing that I do as a cool down was walk or run on the treadmill. And obviously, I'm not afraid of ladies, right? I'm going to get to my machine that I need to get. If this machine is available, I'm going to go to that machine, regardless if it's a cute girl or ugly girl. I'm going to go to that machine because let me tell you, and I say this for ladies and gentlemen too, you don't own the gym. Folks have the right to go to a certain type of machine, even though it's right next to you. We have a right to go to that machine, right? It's a commercial gym. If you want your space, you might as well go to a private gym and pay more. So I'm going in there and I'm like, okay, one of these ladies are going to move. It happens to me all the time. I don't know what it is about ladies when a man or a male comes to, and I know what it is. I'm going to answer that. We come next to a machine next to you. I wasn't looking at your panties. I wasn't looking at your ass. I wasn't looking at your breast. I was not studying you. Right? I was just getting a wipey thing to wipe down that machine, get ready for my cool down. I ain't paying these ladies no mo in this gym. Because I've done that last year and I'm not doing that shit again this year. So I'm walking up there and I said, yeah, these ladies, they're going to move. Hope they're going to move. One of them going to move. I guarantee you they're going to move. So I put my water bottle on it. I turn my back to go to they have like the trash can, and then on top of it, they have the Kleenex on top where you pull it. So I'm pulling a couple of cleaning wipe things, and I turn around. The young lady to my left sprinted off that treadmill. I've never seen a girl sprinted so fast off a treadmill in all my days. And I'm like, what? Damn. Like, I look, and ladies, I'm picking on y'all, but I get it. Because unfortunately, there are some crazy men out here in this world. There are some creeps out here in this world. I get it. I completely understand that. But we ain't all creeps. We ain't all horrible. And I could tell that she wasn't finished with her routine on the treadmill. But the fact is that she saw me getting on that treadmill, getting ready to work, and I'm like, shit, I gotta take it. I gotta, she sprinted off that treadmill so goddamn fast. I ain't paid it no never mind. I'm like, all right, well, I knew that was gonna happen. And ladies, let me tell you, you kind of screw yourself up, because if you're not done with your regimen or your routine in the treadmill, but you jump off a machine because there's a male that's next to you and you feel afraid, you kind of shooting yourself in the foot. You kind of shooting yourself short when it comes down to your workout. Again, like I say to my ladies, I'm picking on y'all. I'm just having fun. I get it, because there are some creeps out there that just try to talk to people in the gym. That's just the new gym culture, that for men, you're not supposed to approach women. That's just the rule. That's just the God-given rule that we are abiding by. Because I've seen it now that, a lot of bros, they don't approach women anymore. I sure as hell don't do that no more, because I got burnt, really bad. So yeah, I can't say really bad. I mean, that encounter wasn't that bad, but I got burnt. So I learned to not do that anymore. I don't understand it. Ladies, again, I get it, but I don't get it, because we're not all creeps, but I get it. But like I said, I didn't pay it no never mind, hope, in audience, because I'm like, well, I'm still going to be doing my routine regardless if you're there or not. But it's just one of those things that it does happen. I'm sure it's going to happen tonight when I go back to the gym tonight. I'm sure it's going to happen. But I'm very, very excited for that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to bring something up that's across my mind before I get to my topic of story today, because it happened today. I'm very, very excited to announce this thing. So if you guys know, I've renewed my faith with God. Obviously, duh, Kennedy. I say that a lot. I do. But I wanted to take you guys along this journey. This new journey that I'm on, renewing my faith with God. Change Church, first and foremost, shout out to Change Church. And shout out to Pastor Daniels and First Lady Shamika Daniels. I enrolled in something yesterday that I'm very excited for, that I'm going to take you guys on this journey. And I'm taking you guys on this journey for my males and for my females, but really for my males, because this next ministry thing that my church is doing that I am looking excited for, A Change Presents Made Man. So, Pastor Daniels, he announced this thing, Hope and Audience, on church this past Sunday, that there's a new ministry that's going to happen, and it's called Made Man. And what it is a boot camp for us fellas to learn how to become better men. I am really, really looking forward to this thing, because I've always wanted to know how to become a better man. That is another goal of mine for 2026, along with finding my woman of God, getting a girlfriend this year. I am learning how to become a better man. And it's something that I'm working towards. I've created some things. I've did some drama. I even did it yesterday, where I apologized to one of the fitness trainers that were doing classes, because I was being an asshole to her a few weeks back, and I just had to apologize because it just didn't feel right? As I'm renewing my faith with God and treating people with kindness the best way I know how, I'm really looking forward to this Made Man Ministry Boot Camp. It starts late January, so I'm going to take y'all on the journey, but it doesn't start till like January 25th. So I've got a couple weeks to before it actually starts. But I'm looking forward to it, because they have a 1,000 level, 2,000, 3,000, and 4,000 level, and you do get a pendant when you graduate from that, from doing the course and doing the work. I'm looking forward to it, because I am looking to become a better man, right? Not just for myself in particular. Well, for myself, yes, but becoming a better man spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, and becoming a better man for my family members, my brothers, my sisters, my mom, my dad. Also becoming a better man for my future girlfriend, whoever she is out here in this world. Because honestly, and ladies, I'm talking to you now. I'm single, ready to mingle, but I am ready to be a good man and to learn to be a better man for you. Whoever you are out there in the world that's going to be my true love one day, because I think it's coming this year. I want to be that man that is just so good for her. I want to be her dream, right? And I think that's a part of what I'm working on, right? Not just going to church every Sunday, because I am going to church almost every Sunday. Well, every Sunday, right? I'm giving my time and my commitment to God and to my community. Yes, I've been doing that. But I think as part of my goal for getting a girlfriend 2026 and to be in my best self is learning how to become a better man. I think that's going to be the final piece, because me going to church and going to the gym and going to work, I know who I am. Just yesterday at the gym, I was bopping and weaving and dancing because I had so much energy. And I think it's because there are songs that are out that I love right now. God's made to be able is one song by Maverick City Music. The Elevation Worship, their team did this song called God, I'm Just Grateful. And I think that's my favorite gospel besides my own gospel songs, because my new gospel album's out right now. Go take a listen, Holy Grounds. But that is my another favorite gospel song that I think I like. I think I'm starting to get into artists and worship bands that post their music on DSPs and it's their live version of their songs. I was just so in tune with that type of music. And I was bopping and weaving in the gym because people was looking like, damn, Kenny's really happy today, because I listen to those type of musics, right? And my health is good. I'm learning to fast a little bit, learning to watch what I eat as well. And I think that final piece is the Made Man ministry that I'm really excited for. I think they're going to have some live sessions that I'll record. There are going to be some Zoom sessions too that I'm going to tune in, which is great because I already got a hectic work schedule. But I'm really, really excited about that. The Man-Made Ministry. I'm going to do a social media post about it later, but I wanted to give you guys a first hand on for it. My fellas, if you guys are here in Atlanta or in Jersey, and you want to be a part of it, you can register. And this is not a sponsor for Change Church. I just like to help get the word out. You guys can register at lifechange.org. Again, that's lifechange.org. If you are in Gwinnett or DeKalb, you can, and it's global too. You can enroll that way if you're in those locations, or if you're in New Jersey listening to our show, you can register for Made Man Ministry Boot Camp for Change. I look forward to it. I will let you guys know throughout the podcast episodes how that progress is going. But shout out to them. I can't wait. I'm really excited. Now, let's talk about some mess real quick. Some good kind of mess. Look, I saw this thing coming. Now, I haven't talked about sports that long, and I'm sorry about that. I am going to talk about sports on this show later on in this episode. Me and Hope are going to talk about our hip-hop news as well. But I wanted to come on camera to talk about this because I knew that this was going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of jury. Raheem Morris is officially fired from the Atlanta Falcons. Raheem Morris was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. And let me tell you something, because we are here in Atlanta. And I feel bad for the brother because, he's a brother. But damn, Raheem Morris, I saw that coming a mile away, because he hasn't performed well. A lot of Atlanta Falcons fans are very happy about his firing. A lot of people were very upset, Hope and audience, about his firing. Let me tell you something. NFL, any type of sports team or any type of job, really, jobs right now are going based off performance, right? If you are not performing well as a head coach, they're not going to continue to give you millions upon millions on your salary if you're not performing well. The last few years, Raheem Morris was taking the helm for the Atlanta Falcons. It flunked, right? That's why you don't see McDonald's sponsoring Falcons no more, because they keep flunking every year. They keep choking every year. They keep disappointing us Atlanta fans every single year, right? And people are going to go on to and like, well, they fired Raheem Morris on the peak of them winning 4 games. They did not make the playoffs this year. They didn't make the playoffs. I think it's a little too late to try to spark up a 4-win streak at the end of the NFL season to where you're not making playoffs. I saw that coming a mile away, right? There's a lot of coaches, if you are not performing, you will get fired because you're getting paid millions on your salary cap. They're not going to continue to do that, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to say that, but they're not, right? Kirk Cousins in and out was pretty good. Bijan Robinson did good, right? Remember when they had Young Jung-Koo? He was supposed to be the top kicker in the world, and he flunked with the first game of the Atlanta Falcons. That was a big mistake, right? I saw that coming a mile away for Raheem Morris no longer being the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. I saw that coming a mile away, right? Like I say, I feel bad for the brother because he's a brother, right? I like to ride for my brothers when it comes down to it, right? There's not many black head coaches in NFL's teams. I wish there were more, but they're not. But on the other hand, you didn't perform well. You got to understand it. You didn't perform well. And I'm sure maybe another team will look at him. Maybe not, right? He can always go to college ball and coach college sports, right? A lot of people done that. Or he could do high school sports. And I'm not saying because Raheem Morris made millions on it, but you didn't perform well, bro. Sorry, but you didn't. And a lot of people disagreeing with the GM too. It's sink or swim with the GM because the GM does have a hand in who picks a head coach. The GM has a lot of responsibility from players to head coach, right? Because the GM is working for Arthur Blank. Now, Arthur Blank, also, he's a billionaire, but his teams ain't really doing so hot, right? We got the thing with Trae Young, too. Trae Young and the Hawks, they weren't doing that good anyway as well this season. So I think Arthur Blank needs to reevaluate some things. I really do. But I just saw that coming a mile away. When it comes down to Raheem Morris, it sucks. But it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Now we're going to turn it over to Hope and I because we've got to talk about our hip-hop news. So here we go. Let's talk about it. Okay, Hope, Bill, here's what's going on. Nearly 500,000 people have pre-saved Kanye West's new album on Spotify despite his recent controversies. That's more anticipation than most mainstream artists see for their releases. What does that tell us about cancel culture in 2024?
Those numbers are truly fascinating, especially considering how his public image has suffered. We're talking about someone who's repeatedly disappointed fans, yet Bully is sitting as the 4th most pre-saved album on Spotify.
You know what really stands out here? The timing of this January 30th release date. The album has 13 tracks split across 2 sides, but there's this palpable skepticism in the air, especially given his track record.
Well, that makes sense when you look at the pattern. Even in the pre-order emails, they're explicitly mentioning cancellation options. It's almost like they're preparing for another delay.
The track listing itself tells an interesting story, though. Starting with Preacher Man, moving through Beauty and the Beast, White Lines. These titles suggest some pretty heavy themes, and structurally ending side 1 with All the Love and side 2 with Losing Your Mind feels very deliberate.
So what do you make of the AI controversy surrounding this release?
That's actually one of the most intriguing aspects. Sources close to Ye have confirmed they've removed all AI elements from the final version. In today's music landscape, that's a pretty bold statement about artistic authenticity.
The competition this album's facing is pretty fierce too. Joji, Gorillaz, Charlie XCX all ahead in pre-saves. Yet Kanye's still pulling those massive numbers.
Right, and let's put those numbers in perspective. 477,200 pre-saves is huge for an artist who's been as controversial as Kanye has been. It really challenges our assumptions about cancel culture and artistic redemption.
The timing of this release seems pretty calculated, though, wouldn't you say? January tends to be quieter for major releases.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so fascinating from a marketing perspective. Less competition means more attention, but it also means any missteps will be amplified. The fact that he's gotten this many pre-saves suggests there's still a massive audience willing to give him another chance.
You know, it really highlights this complex relationship between art and artist in the modern era. How do people reconcile supporting someone's work while potentially disagreeing with their public persona?
That's such a crucial point and is particularly complex with Kanye because his controversies aren't just about typical celebrity mishaps. We're talking about statements and actions that have had real impacts on communities. Yet here we are with hundreds of thousands ready to listen.
The title Bully seems pretty loaded in that context, like he's almost leaning into the controversy.
Oh, nothing about this feels accidental. The title, the timing, even the way they're handling release information, it all feels calculated. Remember how much attention Donda got with its listening parties and last minute changes? This has similar energy.
That's a good comparison. The whole rollout strategy seems designed to keep people talking.
And when you look at the industry context, success isn't just measured in streaming numbers anymore. The cultural conversation carries just as much weight, if not more. Kanye's always understood how to drive that conversation, for better or worse.
Looking ahead to January 30th, what should we be watching for beyond just the music?
Well, I think we need to watch how he handles himself around the release, how he engages with media, and whether he can maintain focus on the artistic aspects rather than generating more controversy. The pre-release messaging seems more controlled than usual, but with Kanye, you never really know what's coming next.
Those pre-save numbers, though, 477,200 people ready to listen the moment it drops. That's pretty remarkable.
And that might be the most fascinating part of this whole situation. How many of those pre-saves are from genuine fans versus people who just want to be part of whatever happens next in the Kanye story? It's like watching a high-stakes cultural moment unfold in real time.
So essentially, this release is becoming a sort of cultural litmus test.
Exactly. And with January 30th approaching, we're about to see whether this marks a new chapter in Kanye's story or just another complicated episode in an already complex career. Either way, it's clear that despite everything, he hasn't lost his ability to capture the public's attention, and maybe that's the most important metric of all in today's music industry. Now, okay, so I'm switching gears here. I'm switching gears for the show because I think this is very, very important. First, I guess it's kind of an announcement, ladies and gentlemen, and hope. It's not a bad announcement. K.L.P Entertainment Filmworks and Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6, along with K.L.P Photography and Lucas Tribune, we are transforming the company in many, many ways. We've got many, many shows going on. But we are switching it to us being a spiritual company. And when I say we are a spiritual company, we believe in our religions. Now, I do have some members of K.L.P Entertainment Filmworks that have a different view on what they believe in. And hey, I have to accept it so I don't get sued, obviously. But we are a spiritual company. And I am switching gears at the final end of each episode. I want to read from the book that I've been reading, God's Daily Wisdom for Men, 366 Devotions. You guys, if you know, you know. If you follow my social media, Instagram, I would do my nightly readings, but sometimes, obviously, the one thing I'm having trouble with is, I don't want to say consistency, it's just I'd be booked and busy throughout the week.
I don't really get to read this as much as I need to for my social media because we're publishing so much other content, so many video content when it comes down to what had happened was we're doing behind the scenes, the full episodes, we're doing snippets of that show, we're doing snippets of this show. So what we're going to do now going forward for the week, I mean, for the weekend, we could, do this on separate, but for our show, we're going to do this. Now, if this is not your thing for what we're about to do, you are free to click off this podcast. Now, this podcast is not going to be transformed into a gospel spiritual podcast because we talk about drama, we talk about news. Obviously, that's not going away, but I wanted to add this component for the podcast because it's my show and I can. And if you're not feeling it towards the end of the show, you're free to click off and watch something else if you like. But if you like the readings, stay tuned because what I can do is with the recording of this episode, I can clip it and publish on my Instagram separate. And that's how I upload my nightly readings because I can do it live on the show and then keep it as part of the show. So again, like I say, if it's not your thing, you're free to click off right now. If this is your thing, you guys can stay tuned and listen to it. Now let's get into it before we wrap our podcast here today. This is the gospel spiritual side of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am reading God's Daily Wisdom for Men, 366 Devotions by Boyd and Bailey. If you guys know, I've been reading this throughout the year. We're starting fresh because it's January. It's a brand new year, and this is something that I am staying tuned with. Now, let's get into it. All right, January 5th, mentor young people. Ooh, I like this one because I do work at an institution. So I don't mentor students, but I see students around. Now, here it is. At the window of my house, I looked out through the lates here, and I saw among the simple. I noticed among the young men a youth who had no sense. Okay, and that was Proverbs chapter 7, verse 6 through 7. All right, here we go. Most young people yearn for someone to invest time and wisdom in them. They know deep in their hearts they need help to handle heartaches. Their naive knowledge has yet to graduate them from the school of hard knocks. So they need loving and wise instruction. Who in your circle of influence is a candidate of your caring attention? It may be a son or daughter, a colleague at work, or a friend from church. God places people in our lives for a purpose. Perhaps you're prayerfully pursued a mentored relationship with a teachable young person. He or she can learn from your mistakes as much, if not more, than your wise choices. Mentors are not perfect, just wiser from failure and humbled by success. Look around and ask the Lord to lead you to a young person who may be drifting the wrong direction. Reach out to that young person. By doing this, you will have returned the favor to someone who loved you. Indeed, mentors take time for others because they are internally grateful for those who took time for them. Gratitude to God is a great reason to go the extra mile with someone younger. Read books together, maybe a book a month for a year. Meet over coffee to discuss how the book challenged your thinking and change your behavior for the better. A young leader can preclude problems when he or she is able to model the wise habits of his and her mentor. Always invite an older adult into your life who can educate you in the ways of God. Moreover, the mentor processes its value to both parties. It provides accountability, encouragement, love, obedience of Christ's commands. Mentor young people so they follow the right path and turn up helping someone else to do the same. The Bible says, encourage young women to love their husbands, to love their children. Likewise, urge young men to be sensible. That was Titus chapter 2, verse 4 and 6. Of course, this is the question from January 5th chapter. Who is the young person in my life to whom the Lord is leading me to invest time, wisdom, and resources in? Again, that was January 5th's Mentor Young People from God's Daily Wisdom for Men. That's 366 devotions for Boyd and Bailey. Let me tell you something. There's not really a young person that I am mentoring currently, not at the current moment. But I have mentored a lot of young folks within me working in education and working in higher ed. Now, mentoring you, I am careful how I mentor, of course, because you can't get super duper close to students, obviously. But I've helped mentored a lot of students, and I can name this. I've worked at Emory University where I mentored a lot of young students at Oxford College. Shout out to them. I got to give a shout out. I worked for them. They were a great school to work for. And to mentor them to be young scholars and to remain in the books, study hard, and to never fell into fear of finals, right? Fast forward, me working in residential work at Georgia State. Shout out to the young students. Not really shout out to Georgia State because that was a horrible, horrible job experience. The residential side, it was fucking horrible. But I will say that Georgia State was a little bit different. And I say to my sisters, I'm over Georgia because I complained about them before. I'm over them, but this is irrelevant to this. I mentored over there a lot of young students because at Georgia State, it was a little bit different, right? There's a lot of students at Georgia State that didn't have a lot of resources, money, right? A lot of them was on financial aid or just was struggling to pay for classes or to pay to live on campus. I had a lot of students to where I couldn't give them I could give them advice and mentor them, but I can offer them resources that they needed, but I couldn't be a counselor because that wasn't my job, right? I was just kind of a active listening ear, right? It kind of got me in trouble because, people felt jealous of me because I gave them advice and I listened, right? That's just the type of worker that I am working in higher education. If a student comes with me with a problem, I can try to offer them resources, try to offer them counseling services from counselors from the counseling center. I couldn't really give them money advice because you have to be careful about that kind of thing. But also being a listening ear, right? I've had students come to my office with the door open, obviously, and they would tell me a problem they had. And that was kind of my job, sort of not my job as a residence director, just to kind of hear the situation that they have now. I had some students where if you're telling me you're harming yourself, I'm required to report it and help you and get the resources that you need. I didn't have a case like that, but helping mentoring young people is very important for my youth because as I've graduated with my bachelor's and graduated with my master's, I've been through the college game, right? I've been through the realms of going through college, didn't have a lot of resources. I had to take financial aid. I struggled to live in the residential department when I first started college. So I've been there and I've done that. So if I can give advice to young people of how to navigate that kind of thing, then I'm going to do it. Now, do I do it previously? No, I don't, right? Because I now work in tech and IT. I don't really interact with students that much anymore. I'm retired from that because although it's great to mentor, it can become taxing on you as well, where students might reach out to you a little bit too much, right? But I'm always going to be listening here. And even to this day, I've had not students, but younger folks, either at the gym or when I'm out and about and they know me, they would come and say, Kennedy, I need some advice on something, right? And I would give them $1 million worth of game for $9.95. I'm just kidding. No, that's just a saying in a rap lyric. But I would give them some advice of how I did it and say, hey, maybe try this because I did it. It might work for you. It may not. Right. So it's very, very important for a lot of people. If you have somebody in your life that you can mentor, it is very, very important to try that. Because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good that you're giving advice to people that need it. Good advice, that is. Don't never give people bad advice because a lot of people give people some bad advice. And I like it because people do come to me about some stuff, some things that I can't answer, but they've given me some stuff. Again, that was God's Daily Wisdom for Men. Good read, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to wrap up our podcast here today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We hope that you guys enjoyed this podcast. And as always, we love you guys. Stay tuned. Follow us. Please don't forget to follow us on any social media that you follow us on because that's how you get notification that we went live for the podcast as well. This has been the K.L.P Aftermath podcast presented by Our Heart Media. We love you guys. Stay safe. Stay swanky. Peace.